Well, the financial crisis made investors gun-shy about putting money away for retirement or even buying insurance for some. But there are signs the customer is coming back. Larry Zimpelman is the CEO of the Principal Financial Group and joins us now to talk about all of that. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I think the first question is, what are you seeing from your customers in terms of the products that they're willing to put their money and their trust in right now?
Well, we are seeing signs, Poppy, that investors are now at a point in the cycle where they're ready to go again. They've sort of had they understand they've fallen a couple of years behind. And as evidenced by our Principal Financial Wellbeing Index, which we released a couple months ago, about 85% of the people say they're now ready to go. They're ready to begin to rebuild their savings and move forward post the financial crisis.
When you say ready to go, I mean, what were they doing with their money in the interim? Was it really the proverbial putting it under the mattress scenario, or were they just letting it sit, pulling it out of market indexes or out of stocks? What were they doing?
Yeah, good question. Actually, what they were doing was overspending. Is actually what they were doing.
Throughout the crisis?
Throughout pretty much the decade of the 2000s.
Sure.
And so what we're seeing is about 65% of the people say they've reduced their spending. That has some implications relative to the economic recovery, although we're still seeing a slow and continuous recovery. About 40% of the people say they're paid down debt as a result of the financial crisis. And then finally, we see about 20% of the people saying that they're actually increasing their savings. So that's all good news.
That is good news. The question is, as someone that sits at the helm of this broad company, I mean, you serve, 19 million customers around the world,
right.
Certainly not just a domestic focus.
Right.
What do you pay the most attention to get the clearest read on where your customers are?
Well, the easiest place to get a read on a Poppy is our 401k customers. We are plan providers for about 40,000 401k plans here in the United States. That covers about 3.5 million workers in this country. And again, what we're seeing there is that we are seeing 401k participants kind of staying the course. In other words, they're keeping their contributions at the level they were before. They're keeping their money invested in the market. They're seeing that balance start to come back as the market's recovered over the last 12 months.
The number one piece of advice that you would give to someone out there would be?
The number one piece of advice I'd give to somebody is, if you're uncomfortable making those decisions, make sure you work with a good financial advisor.
But how do you know you have the right one? I mean, there's a lot of distrust of Wall Street, and not all advisors are on Wall Street, but you see what I'm saying.
I sure do. Yep. And here would be my my answer to that. First of all, my suggestion would be is don't necessarily hire the first advisor you run into.
Sure.
My suggestion would be go interview probably 3 to 5 to maybe even 7 financial advisors from different firms. And I think that what you'd find as you do that is you're going to find that you're going to end up sort of clicking with a financial advisor. They're going to sort of understand and respond to your particular situation, and you're going to develop a comfort level and, frankly, a trust in them that I think is going to be very, very beneficial to you.
And in terms of financial regulatory reform, what's your stance on it right now? Because we've seen a major stall now in the Senate to get a vote on this, to get it through Congress and to the President's desk. I mean, where does the Principal Group stand on financial regulatory reform right now?
Yeah, it's often said that watching laws being made in Washington is a little bit like watching sausage being made, and it's not very pretty at times, and it's certainly not very pretty at the moment. But I don't think that you can be an employer or a consumer or anyone in America have gone through the last 2 years and say we don't need regulatory reform. We clearly need regulatory reform. At the same time, I think it's very important that we sort of get it as right as we can get it.
What's the most important part, Larry, of regulatory reform as it stands now for the consumers that are clients of your company?
Yeah. I think the most important thing right now is we have to do the best job we can to make sure that too big to fail never happens again, and taxpayers are never put on the hook for the failure of a financial institution in the United States again. I think that's the most important single thing we can do.
Having that resolution authority.
Having that resolution authority.
All right, Larry, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.